Come closer. I've got something to tell you. Something is happening across the Western world. You can feel it on the streets, in the courts, at work, and online. It's not just political. It's not just cultural. It's psychological. A silent shift is underway, and it has a name. The Inversion Matrix. 5 sections. Section 1. The reversal begins. In this new system, the native becomes the intruder, the majority becomes the villain, and the truth becomes hate speech. The very people whose ancestors built these nations, who raised the families, tilled the land, and paid taxes, now find themselves apologizing for simply existing. How did this happen? Section 2. Psychological engineering and guilt programming. It began with psychological engineering. First, inject guilt programming, a constant stream of reminders about colonialism, slavery, privilege, and oppression. Then, flood the language with weaponized labels: racist, transphobe, Islamophobe, far-right, each designed to shut down conversation, to train you, to self-censor, and to submit. This isn't about justice, it's about control through confusion. Section 3. The two-tier system of compassion. Look around and you'll see it. As a matter of fact, I think that you know it already. Certain groups can gather publicly in the name of religion or pride. Others are fined, silenced, or arrested for praying silently. Crimes by one group are explained away as trauma, misunderstanding, or cultural norms. Same crime committed by someone else, instant outrage, national headlines, and cancellation. We've moved from equal rights to engineered imbalance, from justice for all to justice selectively applied. Section 4. Institutional capture. Every major institution in the Western world has been taken over by the same ideological virus. Schools no longer teach pride in culture, but shame in history. Police now investigate feelings, not felonies. Media filters truth through an ideological lens, where facts are problematic and narratives are sacred. Even churches and temples now bow down to slogans instead of scripture. This is called institutional capture, and it's not accidental. Section 5 is the long game. Divide, demoralize, and replace. But why? Because a divided, guilt-ridden, and morally paralyzed society is easier to govern. Shatter its tradition, drown it in imported ideologies, redefine its language, and turn its people against themselves. This is what I'm keep trying to say. These are the true cracks through the matrix. The end goal? Not justice, not harmony, but the population too confused to resist and too fragmented to unite. But let's be clear. This isn't a war between races or religions or genders. It's a war between truth and programming. Between those who remember who they are and those who've been rethought to forget. You don't need to hate anyone, but you do need to see. Because the longer we stay silent, the more the inversion matrix tightens. Until what was once solid, identity, family, faith, law, becomes liquid, then meaningless, then gone. This isn't about hate, I repeat. It's about survival. And if you're still listening, it means the program didn't fully work on you. Not yet. You ever wonder why the most powerful organizations on earth announce their plans? Why they'll say things like you'll own nothing and be happy, or talk openly about population control? You'd think if this was some dark agenda, they would keep it secret. But they don't. They print it. They put it on websites. They put it in glossy reports. And you should stop and think about why. It's not because they are honest. It's because they've mastered something far more effective than force. Consent through apathy. See, if you keep something secret and people discover it, they revolt. But if you declare it openly and people shrug, you've turned domination into agreement by default. And then, when it's implemented, they can point back and say, "We told you, it was public. You didn't stop us." It's psychological warfare, because the human brain normalizes repetition. The first time you hear carbon allowance, you laugh. The 10th time you think, maybe, and the 100th time you defend it. That's not democracy. That's conditioning. And this is the next step. They dress the cage in beautiful words. Equity, safety, sustainability. They make control sound virtuous. And you buy it because it feels moral. Meanwhile, the walls close in. And maybe, and this is a frightening thought, maybe it's also a test. A stress test to see if we've grown so passive, so distracted, that we'll trade autonomy for convenience without even a whisper of resistance. And I'll tell you something. So far, the evidence suggests we will, because we confuse warning with transparency and we mistake silence for safety. They don't need jackboots. They don't need gulags. They just need your compliance. And compliance is built one shrug at a time. So when you hear something insane, don't laugh and scroll. That's not a joke. That's the blueprint. And you'd better decide, because your silence, that's the signature on the contract you never read. So, still think they're warning you? Everyone thinks the future is about innovation. AI, smart cities, green energy, but that's the cover story. The real future is about reducing the human surplus without a single bullet fired. And the system that is being built makes it look like progress. In the old world, humans were assets. More people meant more labor, more soldiers, more taxpayers. But technology flipped the equation. When automation does the work, people become liabilities. They consume resources and they produce nothing. From a corporate state perspective, they are dead weight on the balance sheet. Now, what happens to liabilities in any system? They are minimized, quietly, efficiently. You don't announce population reduction. You don't draft policies that say, time to eliminate 800 million people. You design the environment so people self-select out of life. First, you control food economics. Make real nutrition a luxury. Flood markets with synthetic hyper-processed calories. Why? Cheap to make, addictive to consume, and lethal over time. Obesity, diabetes, cancers. It's slow-motion euthanasia disguised as personal choice. And then you privatize survival systems. Hospitals, medicine, insurance. Turn health into a product, and when the bill comes and you can't pay, nature takes its course. No violence, no fingerprints. Meanwhile, you flood culture with distractions. War headlines, influencer drama, ideological cage matches, so no one notices the algorithm that decides who thrives and who quietly disappears. People think they are arguing politics, but in reality they are debating inside the zoo enclosure, while the zookeeper holds the keys to their lifespan. This isn't genocide. It is market-driven selection, a corporate Darwinism where the unprofitable simply phase out. And the punchline? They don't kill you. They invoice you until you die. This is the most profitable extinction in human history, and is happening in slow motion while everyone thinks they are free.